Tonight we are moving the cart to Weston Mare from the place that we parked it up after Burnham-on-Sea Carnival 3 days ago. The Globe Carnival Club from Wales are also parked in here, and they head out just before us. As you may remember from my last video, this entrance was really tight to get into. Getting out is a little better, but it's still very tight. Normal lorries come in here on a regular basis, but at 11 foot wide, we are over 2.5 foot wider than the average truck, which in turn gives us a little less room for error. Once Barry is happy that I'm through, he gets back in the escort vehicle and we head over to Weston Mare. The journey from where we started in Burnham-on-Sea to Weston Mare is around 8 miles. I have one escort vehicle in front and one escort vehicle behind, and the generator is once again being pulled separately by the tractor as we are on public roads. We have a good clear journey across, but it does start pelting down with rain. And as we head across Weston Mare seafront, the wind picks up and blows the rain straight into my face. But at least the rain is happening tonight, and it's fingers crossed for a dry night tomorrow when the carnival procession starts. As we go round the roundabout and head into the car park, we'll see the tractor pulling the generator trailer to the right of the screen. It's a little bit of a funny entrance, but this car park is so big it can hold all of the carts ready for the carnival. There are quite a lot of carts already in here, and there are quite a lot of people walking around. Barry is still in the escort vehicle in front of me, and I keep following him as he's pointed in the direction of the marshal that's lining us all up. The marshal lets Barry know where he wants us to go and what he wants us to do, and then we follow his instructions.
When I stop Jen, we're going to hook up here, I've got to pull up behind them, so just pull up nice and straight, right. I'll get your dad in behind. Okie dokie.
Dad is in the warm and dry of the tractor tonight, and I am like a wet, bedraggled rat.
When we're all joined up,
yeah.
Just leave behind the one,
okie dokie.
Because I'll be the first one out.
Yeah, I do, alright, thanks.
I get a little bit of a breather whilst they unhitch the generator and move the tractor out of the way. And then I need to reverse up slowly to the generator trailer. Dad has tried to drop the generator trailer directly behind the tug and the cart trailer. So all I need to do is reverse in a straight line, and the tow bar should marry up with the hitch. Once the pin is in, they can connect the air lines and the electrical cables.
Pull up behind the other one.
Right.
Right.
Once we are fully trained with the tug, the cart trailer and the generator trailer, we can pull up to the next cart so that all the carts can fit into the car park neatly.
That one dead, Jack?
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything.
I get my stuff together and I'm hoping it won't be long before we can get home and have a cup of tea. We don't need to move again, do we?
Nope, can't move again.
I make sure I turn the isolator switch and I cover the dash and the seat so that it doesn't get wet. We just have one little job before we go home, and that is to fill up the diesel on the tug. Then it's back in the van and homeward bound.
We certainly ain't the last to come in, are we? Whoa,
I'm on a bad run over, really.
No.
We see marketeers coming in as we're heading out, and they have been coming second so far. Then we see a glimpse of ramblers who have been coming first. But for now, it is back to Bridgewater before the carnival tomorrow night. Dan, the road crew captain, gives us a lift to the carnival the next evening, and we quickly get everything out of the van before he has to take it down to the end of procession or escorting later on. It's Weston Carnival tonight, and we moved the cart down here last night. Just getting the cart set up, ready to go. It's about an hour and a half before the carnival starts. I've just got to go and find the tractor key from the carnivalites meet in the Borough Club, which is over the other side of the car park before the procession. Some of them make a day of socialising and have been in here all day. Brian caught the train down earlier on and brought his mum down to play cards. Once I have the key, I head back towards the cart, back through all the other carts that get him ready for procession. Weston Carnival car park is the best place to see all the other carts. As I walk up through, I see Chris James from West Country Bulk. He drives for Newmarket Carnival Club, which is a comedy club, hence why he is dressed head to toe in underpants. I love the atmosphere in this car park when everyone is getting ready for the procession. Everyone has their generators going, they have the lights on and the music playing, making sure that their carts are working how they should be. It feels like being in the middle of a fairground, just better. This is our driver tonight.
Sure, Clem.
This is Dave's first carnival of 2023, and Weston is his favourite carnival to drive. There's marketeers behind us looking fabulous, and ours is all up and running, working perfectly, ready to go. We need to drive right the way round the edge of the car park, and luckily we are quite early on in the procession. I spot Cavalier's beefy flap, and I think Vagabonds need to get one. We head past Gremlins on our way out, and they have a travelling show theme. Gremlins is always up there as one of the carnival favourites. Finally, after a longer wait than we thought, we're out into the procession and through the narrow streets of the seaside town Weston-super-Mare. Spectators seemed to really love our cart, until we had a problem with the generator. The generator stopped working, which meant that we lost all of our lights and our music, but the crowd were very supportive and they kept cheering for us. Luckily, we have built one of those carts this year that looks just as good without lights as it does with lights. As we get to the end of procession, I need to march down to the tractor. Bit of a long walk back to the tractor. We're parked on the beach. There's ours there. There she is. I get the tractor all warmed up and make my way down to the splitting down area, which is just at the end of the procession. I have to pass a few other carts as they're finishing, but I should make it back down to the end of procession for the time that Vagabonds finishes the parade. We find a place to split down, and as we're doing that, some other carts are finishing procession. The road crew are busy unhitching the generator, ready for me to hitch up to it to pull it to the next carnival. Once it's safe to do so, Dave pulls the cart forwards and I back up to the generator. The road crew watch me back and help me hitch up. We can't leave straight away, so Dad has a little look at the generator to see what it possibly could be. The carts are held on the seafront for a little while after procession, before being released to head over to North Petherton. This is around a 23-mile journey, and because of the volume of traffic that are heading out that way, it will take some time. When we arrive at North Petherton, there are some carts already turned round and hitched up, ready for the parade tomorrow. We need to head right the way down to Thurloxton, where there is a big enough space in the road to do a U-turn with a carnival cart. Dave turns a carnival cart round first, and then I follow in the tractor and generator trailer. Then we need to pull up as far as we possibly can to try and get everybody into the lineup. We also need to couple up while we're in the lineup. The marshals will first pull us up as far as they can possibly take us before they let us couple up. And for us, we would prefer somewhere flat and straight. I'm constantly staying as central as I can to the middle of the carnival cart, so that when they give us a signal to couple up, we are lined up perfectly. Once they give us a signal, the road crew come and help me unhitch.
Oh, I just got my finger now.
Luckily for Lee, his wife Melanie is a nurse.
This feels like it takes forever to get down here and back up again, doesn't it?
Some carnivals are longer travelling distances than others, and some are easier to hitch up than others as well. Weston to North Petherton tends to be a long night, and some years we have still been here at 4 AM, but tonight we should finish at about 1:30. Once I am pulled out of the way, they can reverse the cart back up to the generator, and hopefully everything will line up. The pin went in perfectly, and then the road crew connect all the airlines and cables, ready to go again tomorrow. And hopefully we'll get to the bottom of what's wrong with the generator. Once everything's done, I take the tractor down to the end of procession for tomorrow, so that it's there ready for us to split down tomorrow night. That's the tractor parked up on the verge. Oh, who's this coming down? Masqueraders. So hopefully we're ready now for tomorrow. The generator needs to be looked at, as obviously that didn't work. Hopefully tomorrow we can get the generator fixed and we'll have a nice carnival tomorrow, fingers crossed. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. The next day we get back to North Petherton, where the carts are lined up. Paul is in his early 40s and still struggles to dress himself.
Got there in the end.
When the cart personnel turn up, they get their makeup done by Maddie, and Sarah makes sure that all the paperwork is done. Unlike last night at Weston Carnival car park, carts are parked along the road in a big straight line. We start getting all the personnel on before the marshals move all the carts down to the start line. The carnival is due to start at around 7, but we have heard on the grapevine that there might be a hold-up. There has been a reported gas leak in the centre of North Petherton, and the gas engineers need to sort it out before the procession can start, which gives us a little chance to get some moving parts working. And there's Emma, the Queen Bee trucker, walking past with boyfriend Tommy. We end up waiting for a few hours before the carnival can start, and we don't manage to cross the start line until 10 p.m. And by this point, I think the competitors and the spectators have just about had enough. Nevertheless, we keep going. Pooey is driving the cart tonight, and myself and Dad are road crew. We are in procession, there is no more hold-ups, and we more or less go straight through without stopping. But I need to disappear early to go and get the tractor. Mad dash for the tractor again. There's Frost Rescue there, and hopefully they won't be needed over the carnival period. Well, I'm back in the tractor now, and I've put my airlines on, my red and my yellow. Just waiting for the cart to come down. The road crew have got all the personnel off, and it's ready to split down, ready for travelling. The road crew disconnect all the auxiliaries, take the pin out, and then they give Pooey the signal to drive forwards, giving me enough space to hitch the tractor up to the generator trailer. Unfortunately, we have been given some verbal abuse from some spectators that have been told to move out of the split down area. Once everyone eventually moves out of the way, I can reverse back up to the generator trailer. I let them have the pin and they connect up my Susies for me.
I do.
It doesn't take long to couple up before we can move off to our destination. Between North Petherton and Shepton Mallet Carnival, we need to find somewhere to park until Monday. As we are unable to go back to our shed, British Flag are kindly letting us park at theirs, as they have the space for their cart and 2 other carts. Their shed is only at the other side of Bridgewater, so it won't take us too long to get there. Just after the roundabout, our escort vehicles are waiting for us. One will go in front of the car and one will go behind, and I will have one in front of me, but Martin always likes to take up the rear of the generator trailer. Pulling through the gate at Flag's shed is quite tight, so the road crew watch me through. But actually, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I pull up behind the cart, and then we can go home. It's been a long night with the hold-ups caused by the gas leak, and after 2 carnivals in a row, we are glad to be going home. I'm glad to be home with a cup of tea. Someone tried to put their kid on a moving cart as we were leaving, all in darkness, so I was lucky to even spot them. On the Monday, we pop down to the cart in the day to do a few little jobs. Barry fuels up, and I take all the bulbs out of the side of the cart. So this is the tug, and this is the cart, and in under here is the turntable. So this works like fifth wheel. Then you also have a pin here, under here. So, it's difficult to back up. But tonight, we're going to have a go. Dad and Barry check the generator before we come back tonight. As you can tell at North Petherton, it's back up and running, but I'm not sure whether we're ready to tell you what's wrong with it yet. It's Monday today, and we need to take the cart over to Shepton Mallet, ready for the carnival on Wednesday. We're just going to try and back it up and then spin it round. So we need to back it right down to the bottom and then spin it round in front of the shed. I have a couple of attempts, but I can't see very well what is going on behind me in the dark, and I'm also very close to the hedge on the offside. So we decide to pull it further forwards and away from the hedge. And hopefully this will give us the room that we need to manoeuvre. Dad watches me back and is a second pair of eyes. Not only is it dark, sitting in the middle of the cab and not being able to look round to see the back of the trailer also makes it difficult. Plus the fact that I'm so used to reversing Arctics that it would probably be easier if I was a bad Arctic driver.
What now?
Who needs to go to the gym? Don't worry, she'll be rolling your coffee. Exactly like taking your coat off, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah, I know.
Working it wheel.
I need some air conditioning now.
Once the reverse manoeuvre is out of the way, I can spin the cart around in one big circle so it's facing the right way, ready to go to Shepton Mallet. The road crew get in their vans ready to escort me. Barry goes ahead and blocks the road so that it's safer for me to pull out slowly. As I pull out of the yard, the front of the truck scrapes the road, and unfortunately on this one I do not have full air, and as the road dips I get a bit of wheel spin on the drive axle. There is an entrance on the other side of the road, so I use that entrance to give myself a bit more space to turn the corner. We originally thought that coming out of here was going to be super tight, but because I used every inch I could at the front, it actually wasn't too bad. Once Barry is confident that I've made the corner, he gets back in the van and we can head to Shepton Mallet. By this point it is about 7 o'clock. There will be more traffic on the road now than there is when we move the car after a carnival. The journey from the shed over to Shepton Mallet is about 22 miles. There are some quite narrow roads and we really need to watch for trees along this route. When I was editing my videos I found this and I think I was about halfway to Shepton Mallet. We get to the road between Wells and Shepton Mallet, which can be very narrow in places, so there is a marshal there stopping the carts and staggering them going across. We eventually get over to Shepton Mallet, and just before we go into the procession lineup, we need to couple up. Dad brought the generator over with the tractor. He pulls up in a dead straight line behind me, they uncouple, and then he can pull the tractor out.
Yeah. Didn't hear anything on the way up, and it wasn't until Barry got out of the truck and he was saying something, I thought, I can't hear that.
You not hear us telling you about all the buses in it?
No.
Ah.
Once the road crew are prepared behind me, I can reverse back in a dead straight line, and the hit should marry up with not too many problems. My camera battery ran out on the way over, so unfortunately I didn't get some tight spots on the way over, but there were quite a few moments where we had to breathe in. Once we're all hitched up and fully trained, we can head down to the lineup where we need to park until Wednesday. Some carnivals like you to park in your number order or in your division, but at Shepton Mallet it's a first come first served basis, mainly because the road that we park on isn't wide enough to get a cart past another cart. Finally, we are here and I pull up behind Globe Carnival Club. I cover the dash with a waterproof cover and I turn the isolator switch off.
Yeah.
Right, see you later.
Cheerio.
Is that Wednesday?
Me and Dad just have one small thing to do before we go, and that is to take the tractor down to the start of the procession. I'm quite glad I'm passenger princess, as this is quite narrow down between the carts. As you can see, there's not a lot of room for error. Once we get the tractor into the field down the bottom, we will get a lift home and we'll come back on Wednesday. It's Wednesday and the day of Shepton Mallet Carnival. I wasn't supposed to be driving tonight. Dave was going to drive tonight, but unfortunately he cannot make it for some reason. So I've stepped in. I'm all made up, ready to go. Dan, the road crew captain, gave us a lift down to Shepton Mallet, but it's quite a long walk down to the cart. It gets dark pretty quickly, but I still need to do my daily checks. I run through the list on the check sheet, which includes things like checking the tyres through the inspection hatches, making sure that they are not flat, and that all the wheel nut indicators are in the right direction. I also check under the cart and the generator for any leaks. I also check the tow hitches, the pin and the clip, the air lines and cables, and make sure that nothing is going to come undone or drag on the floor. And I also make sure all the tow bar barriers are working. Once I have completed all of my checks, I fill out the daily checks form. By this point, Mike is ready to get the generator started and get all the lights on, testing the moving parts and checking that all the bulbs are working. There are still some bulbs to be replaced at the bottom of the tug as we took them out to travel. We also go around changing all the bulbs that are not working, although sometimes it is the holders that don't work.
Do you want to say hi to everyone on YouTube?
Before the carnival starts, the road crew go and get something to eat and a coffee.
Spotted Red from In the Doghouse.
Hey, how we doing, alright?
Him and his mate run a podcast together, but please don't listen if you are easily offended. I go and fire the truck up about 20 minutes before the procession starts. This also gives us the opportunity to check all the lights, including the emergency stoplight that you can see here. Of course, I make sure my heated seat is on and then I can get ready. I put plenty of warm layers on the bottom and my costume on the top. I'm also quite glad that we have a wig this year as it does keep my head warmer. Once I'm dressed, I put my coat back on over the top to keep me warm and I climb back into the cab, which as you can see is very awkward. I reapply my lipstick and I'm not sure if I like my makeup so much tonight. I also need to put my headset on and I test it. Hopefully this one will work all the way through tonight. As the carts start moving forward, the road crew get ready to get us moving as well. And it's not long before I'm at the start of the procession. Reg and Marlon from In the Doghouse podcast are watching at the start of the procession and I can see them taking a video. Then my dad stands right in front of the camera, totally oblivious, and then somebody else comes along and joins in with the standing in front of the camera. We wait here for a little while before we get the all clear to move, and Dad eventually moves out the way of the camera. And this is the video that Marlon got that actually turned out really well in the end. And then they decide to both try and get a selfie with me, which also turned out pretty good. Last year at Shepton Mallet Carnival, it absolutely poured down with rain. But this year, luckily, they have good weather, just a little bit chilly, and it looks like they have a fantastic turnout. This bit of the route is a little bit tricky, coming downhill, onto a roundabout where you need to keep to the right to get round, and on the right are some low trees. As I get down to the roundabout, I realise that I'm being watched by some very big names in Carnival. Photographers, judges, and committee members, and even Andy Bennett from the BBC. But even with all that pressure, I managed to get round, with the help and support from my road crew. And as I come round the corner, Daniel Holt gets this amazing picture of the cart. No wonder they were all looking so closely. On all carnivals there are rest routes and there are some parts where spectators can't stand because it is too narrow. And this is an opportunity for cart personnel to have a rest and grab a drink. This year, Shepton Mallet Carnival feels like it has gone really smoothly. It's been really enjoyable and it's not long before we're at the end of procession. Lee confirms with Jan, one of the marshals, what we need to do, and I take the first opportunity I can to get my coat on. Shepton Mallet Carnival goes around in a big circle, and we need to head back up the hill and back to where we started. Back around the roundabout on the opposite side like we did on Monday, and back down to the line-up area. On the line-up area, they get all the personnel off the cart, and I take the opportunity to get my costume off and put some warm clothing on, ready for travelling, which consists of lots of layers topped off with a woolly hat and some gloves. We need to wait in this line-up position until the carnival is over and all the crowd has been dispersed until we can go to Wells. The police close the road between Shepton Mallet and Wells, so we are able to travel fully trained. Because of this, the road crew take out the bottom bulbs as a precaution. After waiting for quite some time, we are released to go over to Wells. We head back around that roundabout, although this time nobody is watching me, apart from the road crew. And then there is another roundabout where I have to head the other side of the roundabout. We finally get on the road to Wells, and I spot a Woodhouse bulkhead in a lay-by. This would, on any other day of the year, be a very quiet lay-by. But not on Shepton Mallet Carnival night, when there are tons of carnival carts heading down this road one after the other. Heading through the village of Croscombe is a bit narrow and windy, and I need to constantly have my wits about me to plan ahead as far as I can see for each corner. I have an escort vehicle in front of me and behind me, and the tractor also travels across separately. Once we get to Wells, we get told where we need to be, and we are in Division 3, which unfortunately is right near the back. One of the marshals here is a local farmer, and I only picked up some wheat from him a few weeks ago. I also used to pick up his milk years ago before I started on grain.
Hello, all right? Right? Yeah, you?
just edge forwards very slowly to try and limit the damage of the trees, as I don't really have a way of getting out of parking here. After a long night, it's time to get all my stuff together and pack up to go home, not forgetting the isolator switch. When I get out, I check to see how close the trees are and how big they are, as I could hear them rubbing on the top of the roof as I drove down. Carts in Division 1 and 2 can pass us to get into their positions, as this road is wide enough to do that, unlike Shepton, where it's a first come first served basis. Now all I need to do is find my lift home. And that's it for tonight. Don't forget, all the money from my carnival videos are going to Vagabonds Carnival Club, so please make sure you watch them all. Thank you for watching.